everybody. This is a video about number sense and how we often as parents get frustrated when we see something that looks like new math, and it's a way that we haven't learned math and yet our child is bringing it home. We're trying to engage with them and participate in their learning with them, and it ends up being an exercise in frustration. So that's not productive. So let's talk about what actually number sense looks like for this generation of elementary school students. Well, first and foremost, number sense is quite literally the way the words sound, number sense, a sense of numbers, how they work, how they are put together, what their parts are, how they're related to one another, how we can decompose them and put them back together in a variety of ways. So that last part may be what is so different about today's kids in elementary school and the time when you were in school learning how to do math. It is very different. I'm not going to kid you. I'm no spring chicken. I certainly learned math many, many years ago. I've been teaching in public school now for 20 years. I've been a teacher a little bit longer than that, but here in an American public school for 20 years. And I can see the changes over time, and I can see the increased frustration with parents. I often hear parents and other teachers say things like, what is this new math? What is this newfangled math that we're doing? Why do we have to do that? Can't you just show them how to do the problem? Or when they get home and maybe they're learning something new and maybe struggling with it a little bit, rather than allowing them to struggle, having that productive struggle, even though that looks like a little bit of frustration, rather than that happening, sometimes parents will just grab the pencil and start showing their child how to do the math the way they learned how to do it. And then the child's even more frustrated because they're usually sitting there saying, well, that's not what my teacher said, and that's not how my teacher showed me. And the frustration just compounds from there. So here's the reality. There is no new math. Math is math. What there is a new way to look about building the sense of children understanding fundamental steps of math before they go on to the higher stuff. So when they're in the lower elementary, we're putting concrete things in their hands called manipulatives, right? So maybe it's a coin or a counter or a die or plastic teddy bears. I know that's how my boys learned in preschool. Plastic teddy bears, baskets and baskets of plastic teddy bears. Count them, take them away, make groups of them, make equal groups, see how many different equal groups you could make, divide that up, and then move on in middle to upper elementary school with models. So now we're drawing things. Now we're using grid paper. We're using all kinds of rectangular models called bar models or tape models today. You see a lot of that in middle and upper elementary school. So why is that happening? Well, that's a natural progression of their brain. That is the brain development that's happening. Kids are concrete when they're younger, and then as they're moving 9, 10, 11 in that age, so we're talking 4th, 5th, moving into 6th grade, they're starting to see things in a different way, and they're starting to see more ways to solve maybe the same problem. A little bit more level difficulty. We've increased the level of difficulty. We've made the math problems a little bit more complex, but nevertheless, they've moved away from the concrete into representational with models. Now, at this point, what I hear often from parents and teachers, unfortunately, is that they're wondering why we are not just showing kids, again, just how to do it. They've already worked with fractions. They already know fractions. But what I'm saying to you is that for number sense in upper elementary school, it isn't so easy to say, well, they've already worked with fractions. Check that box off. They're all done. They're ready for algebra. That would be maybe an incorrect way of thinking. Sure, some students are. We have some advanced students now and then they pass through the classroom, and we do need to deal with them and get them in the right class. But the vast majority of students are not so advanced that they have all those foundational skills really solid. They need to spend time making sure that they do understand how numbers work and the relationship of some numbers to other numbers. We add fractions and decimals into the mix, that only complicates it. And that's often where we start to lose people. And then we hear that old thing, well, my child's not really a math person. I wasn't a math person, and he or she's not really going to be a math person. Oh, well, which I find ridiculous because, quite frankly, we would never say that if somebody was struggling to read. We would never say, well, they're just not going to be literate. We would never say that. Of course, we would jump on that and make sure that they could read. And math should be the same way. We have to make sure that they are mathematically literate. So, at any rate, what seems to be the problem? The problem is that we need to build a flexibility in their thinking. That's the goal of math now. It's about problem solving. And in order to be an effective problem solver, we have to make students that are effective with flexible thought. So in sum, kids with a sense of numbers, a solid awareness of numbers and their parts, and how different numbers relate to each other will be in the best position to understand how to think logically in their current math class, but more importantly, they will be able to move into higher level, more demanding math courses as well as more rigorous intellectual thinking far into the future. How do you achieve number sense? Well, in as many natural conversations that you can, include math or mathematical thinking. It's everywhere. From putting gas in your car to talking about time to cooking in the kitchen. The possibilities are endless. Play card games, dice games. Worry less about what's the best math game or math program to buy and observe more what your child enjoys and find time to enjoy and experience numbers in whatever way together. There are plenty of games, both digital and non-digital. Just make sure your child enjoys the experience and makes numbers and math a part of normal thinking, a part of everyday normal life. That's how number sense grows.